Okay, everyone, we are going live. Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes so that we can start. Yeah. Wait for people to come. Hello, Yang. Can you unmute and speak?
Yeah. First thing, can you send it to Visa Task so I can upload?
All right. People are joining us.
Kristen, can you send the live to Visa Task?
Yeah, my team will share it to you, yeah?
Okay. So can we start now?
Yeah, we can start now. Say hello to everyone.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Welcome all of you.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome all of you to our webinar yesterday, Tasmania Week. My name is Yang, and I'm president of Visa Task, Vietnamese Student Association Tasmania. Let me introduce to you our special guest today, Miss Christine Nguyen, founder and migration agent at Visa First, and Miss Harbert Gill, acting manager, Global Education Department of Stagro. Hello, Harbert Gill.
Hello.
Yeah. Miss Nikki, Migration Tasmania, Department of Stagro. Miss James Holden, Marketing Manager, Government Education and Training International Department of Education. Miss Tamara McKinnon, Regional Manager, Australia and Vietnam, University of Tasmania.
Hello, everyone.
Miss Edgar Ho, International Student Advisor, STASTEC.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
And the last is Miss V Pham, student graduate from UTAS. Yeah. Now let's start. Firstly, Ms. Christine will introduce to you a brief overview of the studying and visa options in Tasmania. Welcome, Christine.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? Can you hear me well? If you do, please comment yes below on the comments. Do you hear me? Yeah, that's good. Seems like people hear me very well. Okay. Well, let's start. Okay. In my presentation today, there will just be a very short one. Firstly, it's a brief introduction, and secondly, I would present to you why you should study and migrate to Tasmania. Okay, just a brief introduction about Vision First. So Vision First is a migration and education service provider with 3 offices around Australia, and 1 representative office in Ho Chi Minh City. And we really focus on international student services in terms of migration and education. So in our team, there are 2 main teams, the migration team, which is myself, a registered migration agent, and my co-founder, Mr. Charlie. And also there is one very important person who takes care of some complicated cases related to migration, Mr. Chong Quek. He is an accredited immigration specialist. Okay. And this is our beautiful people in my team in across four offices. All right. Let's jump to the main part. Sorry, it's too loud. So before we start, I would like to share with you a short video introducing about Tasmania. Okay, let's see.
On behalf of all Tasmanians, delighted to welcome you to our beautiful state. Whether you have chosen to study in our university, vocational education institutions or schools, I assure you that you have chosen an amazing part of the world to to start this new chapter in your life.
The state of Tasmania offers students from all over the world the opportunity to be part of a thriving community that is quickly becoming one of the most desirable places to live, work and study on planet Earth.
All the lecturers and tutors are dedicated and willing to help students to understand the course content.
Okay, how do you feel about Tasmania? Personally, I really love Tasmania because it's a very beautiful state. I usually told people that, well, it is the destination for my retirement in the future because everything here is really beautiful, fresh air, and like friendly people. I always feel very peaceful when I come to Tasmania, especially Hobart. Well, how about some reason about why you should study in the state and migrate to the state? So just two main reasons. So first of all, regarding some migration news, well, this is an update from November 2019. So all of the students, international students who study in the regional area of Australia will receive additional 1 to 2 years of temporary visa to extend their stay and work in the regional. So there is a new there is something called new regional definition. So there are 3 different tiers. In the past, there's only one option for TR. So 2 years for the bachelor and master graduates. But now, if you choose to study in some city and major regional center or the regional center and other regional area, you will be awarded extra 1 to 2 years TR. So okay, so you can see this table on the Department of Home Affairs website. Some city and major regional center include Hobart in Tasmania, and Launceston will belong to the regional center and other regional center. What does it mean? Okay, let's see this table. So if you choose to study in Melbourne only, or Melbourne, Brisbane, or in Sydney, you will be awarded 2 years of temporary visa after your graduation of a bachelor or a master degree. However, and 3 years of TR after you graduate from the master by research, and 4 years if you graduated from a PhD degree. Okay. So if you choose to study in Hobart, let's say, so you will be added 1 year extra. So this is a number of years. And if you study in Launceston, you'll be added like 2 years in your temporary visa. Okay. So basically, for the people who graduate, most of the international student from Vietnam will choose to study the bachelor or master degree by coursework. If you choose to study in Hobart, you will be granted 3 years of TR, 1 year longer than people from the mainland. And if you graduated in Launceston campus, you'll be awarded 4 years. That's a very long time, right? And secondly, why study in Tasmania? Because it's the direction that the Department of Home Affairs will direct all of the migration program. And Tasmania, to my opinion, is a very welcoming state for international students, following the instruction from the Department of Home Affairs. Okay, for the migration part today, so most of As you can see here, we have two very important guests from Department of State Pro from Tasmania, who will share with you in details about the migration policy in Tasmania at the moment and some updates. I will just briefly give you an overview of the migration program in the past year and in the future. So why I say the regional study is the future trend, because as you can see from this table, this is the migration outcome in the financial year 2019 and 2020. You can see that the number of the visa grant in 189 visa, which is the visa for mostly in the big city, let's say Melbourne, Sydney, etc. The number is a bit lower than the 190 and 491 visa. That means the Department of Home Affairs really focused on the regional migration. Okay, and now I will pass on to Nikki and Hobart, who will share with you in details about the migration program in Tassie. Okay.
Thank you, Christine. I know most of you now are wondering why Tasmania. What are the key benefits of moving to Tasmania? And yes, Mr. Hobart, could you please help us to answer to these questions?
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And it's really nice to see a lot of familiar faces on the screen. So my name is Hobart. I currently work as acting manager for global education at the Department of State Growth. And I have my colleague Nikki here with me from Migration Tasmania. I will try and answer your questions as much as we can. What I'll do is I'll speak to the Study Tasmania element of the presentation, and then Nikki will speak to the Migration Tasmania element of the presentation. So I work for Study Tasmania, and at Study Tasmania, we have a global education growth strategy where we are looking to not only grow our student population in Tasmania, but ensuring that when they're here, that their whole journey is taken care of. So that includes building better partnership across the sector, enhancing their student experience while they're here, helping them get more connected to the community, and through a range of different other initiatives. We work really closely with TAFE, so Getty, as well as UTAS and other departments to try and collaborate and ensure that our students in Tasmania are taken care of. What I would like to talk a bit about, so Christine has done a great job introducing the state for me, so I don't have to go too much into that. I would like to say that, Christine, you'll probably have to move here before you retire. There's so much more here that's going to happen before you retire. What I would like to talk a bit about is our key industries. I really like to talk about what's important to the state in terms of key industries, because I think students need to think about, no matter where they're moving, they need to think about what industries are important in the area they're moving to, because that's where the jobs are. I mean, most of us study so that we have a career and have a job, make some money. So it's really important that when you decide what you want to study, think about what you're passionate about, but also think about what are the key industries in the area that you're thinking of studying. So for example, in Tasmania, food and beverage production is important, aquaculture. So Christine has been here and tried a lot of our salmon, and she can vouch for that, but you know, aquaculture is a very important industry for us. Energy and resources. Just last week, we became 100% self-sufficient for renewable energy, the only state in Australia to achieve that target. So that's another big industry for us. Tourism. Prior to COVID, we had a booming tourism industry, and even now with the borders set to open to all states by Thursday, I'm sure we'll bounce back pretty quickly. So here's just a few information. Healthcare is another big one. You know, we are an aging population in Australia and even more so in Tasmania. So there's always lots of opportunity in the healthcare sector. And the Australian government has also indicated that that's where the priority lies, especially this year. So I just want students to think about what courses or what industries are key to the area that they want to move to. And that's really important to ensure that you have a successful graduate opportunity after that. In terms of student support, so Edgar here that will speak later, he's an excellent international student advisor here in Tasmania at TAFE. I think you could pick any TAFE student and they would have something good to say about Edgar. So these are the type of relationships that we try to form in Tasmania with our students. We try to be more personable, try and give targeted advice. So UTAS and Getty both have dedicated student advisors for international students. From the state's perspective, we have student ambassadors that come on board and try and help us, I guess, communicate widely with the student cohort and also help us connect them to the community. We run employability programs with a few partners to ensure that students have the best opportunities of being employable once they graduate. So here are just a range of things that the state tries to assist in the student journey, and the providers then do a huge part of that as well. So we try and work together and try and fill gaps in this space. So here's the student ambassadors that I was talking about. So these are the ones that are finishing up. So we had 12 last year and 21 altogether once we connect the Hobart City Council one. So we work closely with the councils to run our program to ensure the student ambassadors have the community element in their development as well. So just thought I'll share that with you. And the last thing that I sort of wanted to just quickly mention, I mean, we know that this year has been a particularly difficult year for international students and all Australians, I must say, but particularly for international students who are far away from their home and can't go back during holidays. And the state very early on during the pandemic launched a temporary visa holder package to try and assist temporary visa holders, including students that needed assistance. I think in Tasmania, we're quite fortunate on how the pandemic was handled, that we're pretty much back to normal. But if you know any students who require any assistance, I would encourage them to reach out. They could send us an email, they could call the public health hotline or talk to their providers. It could be in terms of monitoring, it could be in terms of guidance. Any help they need, please encourage them to reach out. Because I mean, we've asked this question to the Department of Home Affairs, and we've told them that students are afraid to reach out because they think that it will impact on their visas, and Home Affairs have categorically told us that that's not the things that they look at. People are entitled to receive help, so please make sure that if you require any assistance, please reach out. I'm going to hand over to Nikki now to talk about the juicy stuff. So thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to welcoming you in Tasmania, and you too, Christine, not when you retire.
Thank you very much, Hobart. Another very attractive part will be presented by Ms. Nikki. She will share with us the updated information about Tasmania's state nomination program. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone for dialing in today. It's lovely to have everybody here. So I'm going to have a little talk about our Migration Tasmania program, the Visa State Nomination Program. Migration Tasmania is at the Department of State Growth, part of the Tasmanian government, and it supports Tasmanian business, industry and population through international engagement, and we recognise and value that skilled migrants and international students make a significant contribution to Tasmania, both economically and culturally. Second. So these are two in particular we mentioned earlier, a couple of the visas that we have for visa state nomination. We have our skilled nomination nomination visa 190, which is a permanent residency visa. We also have our skilled work regional provisional visa, which is the subclass 491, which is a 5-year provisional visa and provides a pathway to permanent residency. At the moment, our fee for service for applying for visa state nomination is $220 Australian. There's no occupation ceiling. You do require a skills assessment. The English level needs to be 6 or above, and actually proficient for overseas applicants. And you need to have the points test needs to be a minimum of 65 points. And that's including the nomination points. People need to also be under 45 years of age. Now, we need to make it very clear that Migration Tasmania is not the Department of Home Affairs. The role of Migration Tasmania is to support the Tasmanian population growth strategy by nominating people who are committed to living and working in Tasmania on an ongoing basis, and at the same time fill industry skill shortage areas, which Harpreet mentioned a little bit earlier. So visa state nomination is a 3-step process. People are required to submit an EOI through Home Affairs, then apply for visa state nomination, and if successful, apply their final visa application to Home Affairs. So once you've undertaken your study in Tasmania and you fall in love with Tasmania as much as we all love Tasmania and you'd like to stay, that's when we go down the road of the visa state nomination program. The Tasmanian government is not permitted to provide specific migration advice concerning visa options and pathways, so we always strongly urge people to engage with migration agents who can provide all different options for consideration, and everyone has individual circumstances. A little bit more information here on the subclass 190. So for this particular visa state nomination, people are required to have completed and graduated from a CRICOS registered tertiary institution in Tasmania and have met the Australian study requirement by way of their studies in Tasmania. You must have lived in the state for at least 2 years during your period of study, and your dependents must also be currently living in Tasmania. And we also need, it's quite a competitive process, so we're always very interested in hearing about people's genuine intention to live in Tasmania on an ongoing basis. The subclass 491 skilled work regional provisional visa. So for that particular visa state nomination, you need to have studied in Tasmania for 1 year. There's details there and on our website about the different qualifications that we look at. You must have studied for the 1 year, which is we consider to be 40 weeks. The course must be full-time and on-site. You must have lived in the state for at least 1 year. And some people do ask, oh, I may have some recognised prior learning. Is it okay if I apply after 8 months of being there? No, you need to apply after you've been in Tasmania for 1 full year. And once again, dependents need to also be in Tasmania. And once again, provide or demonstrate that ongoing intention to live in Tasmania. There's a couple of other categories there for consideration, but obviously today we're talking about the Tasmanian graduate category. So for more information, just have a look at our website. So as I mentioned before, it is a competitive process, and we tend to, the things that we look at, the factors that we look at when we're assessing the applications is the availability of nomination places, the ability and demonstration of having met the minimum nomination requirements, such as the points test and English level, the demand for particular skills and expertise, and the applicant's ability to find work in Tasmania. Once again, that touches back to those key skill areas. The suitability and transferability of qualifications, skills and experience, including any specialist capabilities to the needs of Tasmania's labour market. an applicant's ability and commitment to establish themselves and any dependents in Tasmania with a view to longer-term prospects in the state, genuineness and accuracy of claims put forward. We do look at into non-genuine sort of documentation that sometimes comes through, and so we are, we're very passionate about the genuine evidence that people give us, but we also pay attention to non-genuine evidence, and the potential to achieve the Home Affairs income threshold. That's the information about that is also available on our website. So as, excuse me, sorry. So as Harpreet mentioned, the key skill areas: health services, disability services, aged care, agriculture, aquaculture, education, building and construction is a big one at the moment with COVID recovery, etc., and hospitality and tourism. And it's been very nice to see those industries bouncing back since COVID. So there's a couple of websites there for you. The website Make It Tasmania is a really interesting website. It talks about actually, living in Tasmania and people's journey as they've moved to Tasmania from either interstate or from overseas. There's some honest information there and some honest feedback from people, which is always exciting. Yes, genuine commitment is the key, definitely. Okay, so the next page. Excuse me, sorry about that. One thing that we feel is very important is the Tasmanian graduate career plan. So if somebody is applying for visa state nomination, we do ask them to, if they're a Tasmanian graduate, we do ask them to provide a career plan. So the big important things, of course, are, once again, the key industries, but we like to hear about people's study, their volunteer work, their internships that they've been part of or undertaken, an understanding or research into the understanding of the Tasmanian job market, any current work prospects. While work is not a minimum nomination requirement for a Tas grad, we do like to hear about the work that you're undertaking and what sort of pathway you're progressing along to stay in Tasmania on an ongoing basis. We ask people not to restrict their job search to positions directly related to their studies. Look a little bit broader, and definitely don't copy other people's job research or career plans or commitment statements, because we do notice the similarities. So one thing that's very important is that visa state nomination is never guaranteed. It's a very competitive process, as I've mentioned, and it's really important to submit a thorough and honest application. We want to hear about your plans, about your future in Tasmania. And we are very passionate about welcoming people to Tasmania to live on an ongoing basis. It's a very exciting thing. I've actually worked for Migration Tasmania for 4.5 years, and it has been a fantastic journey seeing the growth of migration here. Just excuse me for a minute, sorry. My apologies there. So this particular slide shows some of our recent success stories, and just to give you an idea of the growth of the program over the years, back in financial year 2013, we nominated only 56 visa state nominees, but the last financial year we nominated just over 2,900. So if that gives you a little bit of indication as to the growth of the program and how much, how we've been really welcoming people into the state, that gives you an indication there. And you can see there from the occupations, there's a wide range of occupations there listed, and it was just really lovely to hear these people's stories, and it's not always easy. There are little challenges, but I think from what you can read there, a lot of people have said that it's well worth it, and they've settled really well into the state. So we welcome you to have a look at our website, and definitely consider Tasmania as your migration option if that's what you choose to do. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nikki. I know some of you may know or heard about TAFE, one of the 10 largest vocational schools in Australia. And now James will help me to share with you more information about this school. So welcome, James.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. It's making sure you can hear me okay. I hope so. Perfect. Thank you. Brilliant. First of all, thank Vision First for all of the work they've done putting the event together. Happy Tasmania Week. We're really excited to be here. And it's great to be here with the Department of State Growth, Nikki and Harpreet, and also with UTAS. So thank you very much. I'm going to talk a bit about TAFE today. I'm just going to share my screen first so that you can see this beautiful photo when we get there. Hopefully that is going to come up now. Yeah. I think so. We're getting there. Perfect. Thank you for your patience. Before I talk about TAFE, I've got one photo of Hobart. This is our capital. And I imagine that where most of you are right now, you could be in Melbourne or in Sydney or much bigger cities. And you might be thinking, this is a bit of a smaller city. It's a bit of a change for me. So the number one award that I'm most proud of for Hobart, and it's not very exciting, but for me it is last year we were number 4 in the world for the world's best small cities. So we're very proud of it. We just missed out on number 3. But what's really important about this award is that it's a realization that small cities in lots of ways are the best option for people. People all over the world are moving to really big cities, thinking that their quality of life is going to get better. But what's actually happening for many people, and maybe it's for some of you, is that the quality of life is actually a lot worse than they expected. So what small cities can offer is that quality of lifestyle, friendlier, safer, and there are actually some really big advantages relating to, for example, the fact that your skills and your experience, particularly those language skills or the different way that you see things, people in those small cities and businesses in those small cities might not have them. So it's a massive opportunity for people to actually improve their quality of life. And I think that's something that we're really proud of, because Hobart is not Melbourne or it's not Sydney, and it's its own city, but it has some incredible advantages and opportunities for people like yourselves who are considering a move to a smaller city. So I know we've heard a lot about Tasmania as a destination, so I better start talking about TAFE. So just flagging here. So we are GETI. It's a very complicated word, Government Education Training International. But all you need to remember is we represent both Tasmanian government schools and TAFE. So we work with Vision First, sending students or very happily enrolling students from the Australian mainland where you are, and also from Vietnam for TAFE and also for schools. And we even have several families from Vietnam who are studying in both TAFE and our schools. So we're a bit of both of those products. So TAFE, as you have said, thank you very much. We're the top 10 largest vocational schools in Australia. We have 33,000 students at TAFE, so it's a very large organisation. We have just 330 international students. It's about 1% of our cohort, and we'll talk a little bit about why that's the reason, because that's quite a set cap. So why TAFE? And we'll go through them. The first is industry links. So you would notice there are TAFEs in most states of Australia, and there are also lots of other vocational schools. TAFE was the first, it's the largest here. And what our real strength is the connection between TAFE and industry. So TAFE is there to serve the skills that Tasmania needs, and therefore it's able to have really close relationships. So that means a few things. It means that we're teaching what industry wants. So for employability, students are studying at TAFE because they know that when they graduate from TAFE, they're going to have the skills that the industry wants. And in particular for us, the Tasmanian industries want. So for people who are considering employment, we know that particularly we want opportunities when we graduate. Those industry links become really important that we have between our graduates. The next one is real work experience. The majority of our courses will have work placement embedded in them. So it's an opportunity to improve your language skills, an opportunity to get that hands-on experience and make those connections and networks. Third one is individualized support. I believe for a TAFE or an international institution. We have the best support you're going to find in Australia. And we have Edgar tonight talking about the support. So I won't steal too many of Edgar's time talking about that and let him talk about it himself. But it's something that our international students say time and time again, that the support they receive here is really over and above what they were expecting, and one of our best factors. Next is government owned and operated, which is fantastic. We're able to work with government on the skills that we need. And it also means the quality and the legitimacy of what you're getting in Tasmania is really high because it's government operated. And finally is pathway to university. And we'll be talking about that. And it's why it's fantastic that Tamara is here from the University of Tasmania, is we're able to talk about the really strong pathways that we have between TAFE and the University of Tasmania. We're fortunate being the two largest providers for international students in Tasmania. We can work pretty closely and in ways that other providers in other states can't. Fantastic. I think we're going okay for time. So industry links, already spoken a little bit about it, but it's strong and trusted bonds with Tasmanian and Australian employers, so all over Australia. But the focus from industry is that we're teaching the skills that they need. So we have a lot of input in what we're teaching, and because we have placements every year, the industry are actually able to see how are the skills of the TAFE students and are they matching what industry needs? And then from their feedback, we're able to change the course. So it's a real advantage, the relationships we have with industry. And in Tasmania, it's a smaller place. We've got closer relationships and therefore closer connections. And ultimately, students graduate highly valued and job ready. And that's the focus when we want to study overseas. And particularly many of you who are studying and you'd like to have further career opportunities in Tasmania and Australia, you want to know that you're job ready and you're going to be valued. Next one is the work experience. And you'll see a student here in one of our commercial cookery kitchens. We have our own restaurant that operates nearly, I think next year the plan is for 4 days a week, and that's serving the public. So you have a placement as part of, and some of you who are considering hospitality or cookery, you'd be aware you have a work placement. But on top of that, we also have our own private restaurant, which Edgar and I have eaten at a few times. It's delicious. It's a great way that we get to try the students' hard work. And so that just gives you more opportunity to develop your skills, more opportunity to develop your networks and improve your English as well. I think that's something that is often overlooked, is the English that you're able to communicate following. It's not just the skills, it's also the English level surrounding that. So when you meet local employers, they can trust that you can also communicate with all different Tasmanians out in industry. Next one is the support. So Edgar is, I think Edgar has his own section, so I won't try and say everything, but the fastest, easiest way to explain it is the level of support that you get at TAFE, considering the number of students we have, is truly exceptional. We have people like Edgar who are available all of the time, and I know Edgar needs some time to himself, but I know the work he does, it's truly amazing. And we offer a lot of things like free airport pickup, assistance with phone, banking, accommodation, things that I know from speaking to other students considering studying at a TAFE or a vocational provider, they just don't get in this way. And people feel really valued. The other part of our support is the English language support. So we have 3 dedicated English language teachers, and they're also available to both in class and out of class to help students with their English. And a lot of our students, some Vietnamese students I've spoken to who have moved down as well from Brisbane and Sydney, have said that's perhaps the biggest change that they've noticed, that there's this bonus of the international language support teachers. And all of this is included in the tuition fees people are paying, but it's something they didn't expect. It's a real bonus. And the third one, you've got 24-hour emergency assistance, always here to help you and support you. Government owned and operated. So we're having local, national and global recognition. Means we're teaching the skills that government needs. And therefore that brings me back to the number of students we have at TAFE. So at TAFE, we used to have a lot of courses, a lot more courses than we do now. We had things in fashion and music and art. And we made a decision that we need to look at the skills that are needed because most of our students were wishing to remain in Tasmania. So we really wanted to focus on the skills that were available and the skills that industry needed, and to really focus our courses in those areas. So in TAFE, what are we going to find? We're going to find careers and courses in healthcare, which we've heard about today as a key industry, in hospitality and tourism, in engineering construction. So these areas, IT as well, business as well. But I would really stress, and I think that Harpreet and Nikki have done a fantastic job as well, as looking into the industries of Tasmania, where we really need people and there's huge job shortages, and considering those first when you look at what to study. And that's what TAFE has done. And finally is the pathway to university. So we have diploma and degree programs with the University of Tasmania, and you're really benefiting from all of those practical workplace opportunities, but also the theoretical education of a degree at the University of Tasmania, really highly ranked university. And you get to begin your global education, or for many of you have already begun your global education, so continue your global education with lower English levels and also a lower price than if you were going to university directly. So what are those courses? And I totally understand from those of you probably joining today that a pathway package might not be your first interest, but I think it's still important to share with them, because these courses, some of them are quite newly agreed to, and we're really proud of the relationship we have with the university and what we've been able to organise and work out between us. So the two that I suppose we're most excited about, and they merge very well with the needs in Tasmania, or the three are probably the top three. So for 1.5 years, that's an 18-month course, Advanced Diploma of Hospitality Management. And then you would continue on to the University of Tasmania for another 1.5 years, and you would graduate with a Bachelor of Business. But you're going to have all of the built-in placements that you're going to get with TAFE, the connections, the networks, the practical skills, and then also you're going to get the fantastic theoretical skills from a Bachelor of Business. So it's 3 years total, something that we're really excited about. Also looking through here, we've got cookery pathways, and then at the bottom, community services and nursing pathways as well. So it's something we're really excited about with the university, and these are fantastic options. So what courses do we have for international students? As we can see, I don't think I need to mention all of them, but as you can see, there's a lot there. The first three are really our strength of tourism and hospitality. And we have an increasing number, particularly of Vietnamese students, entering in these areas, looking into managing hotels, restaurants, tourism businesses, both in Tasmania and also back in Vietnam. So they're recognising that the tourism industry here is really, really high level and high calibre, and they can take those skills anywhere in the world. Engineering, nursing, childcare, etc. We'd really welcome you to get in contact, firstly with Vision First and talk to them about the opportunities, but also with us, of course. So the entry requirements, and you'll be all pretty aware of those probably by now, but the Diploma of Nursing has an IELTS of 7, and all other courses have an IELTS equivalent of 5.5. We do have English programs and packaging of everything except the nursing program. Facilities, really modern facilities. Those nursing photos I need to update because TAFE has a multi-tens of millions of dollars nursing facility that we could do a whole presentation on. And if you visit our website, if you're interested in studying nursing, we have a fantastic new virtual tour that I can pass on to Vision First as well, if you're interested, and you can really see what the facilities are like, because they're world class. They're the most modern and up-to-date facilities in Australia for people learning at TAFE. So we're very proud of it. Cookery, hospitality, you're working in real commercial kitchens. You can't get anything more authentic, dealing with the public in both your placements and, of course, in your simulated learning and your experiences. We have student residences as well. Going through my slideshow here, TAFE events. So this is something that full credit to the fantastic work that Edgar and his team do, but a real effort across TAFE to have the, and Edgar's laughing here, I don't know what photo, probably if you can see the photo furthest to the right, there's a fantastic ambassador there, Edgar, doing what he does best. So I think the events we have with students are something as well. A lot of people think when they're going to a vocational institution like a TAFE that they're not going to have that student connectivity and those types of events, but that's something that is a real strength in what we do as well. So just finalising, and I'm unsure of the timing here of how much time I have left, but when we think of why TAFE, we're going back again, we have industry links. It's really TAFE's greatest strength is its relationships with other Tasmanian businesses. And we're able to really quickly, even yesterday, we had a business contact us directly about a cookery position. I was able to contact Edgar, who was able to contact international student graduate at Drysdale, and they're now working in a Best Western hotel as a cook here. And that's the type of thing that you're having in Tasmania because of those relationships we have and because of the smaller programs. The real work experience, you know that you want to graduate job ready with the skills, the English level and the networks. And that's something that TAFE is really, really strong for, and you know you're going to get. The level of support, and I probably can't mention Edgar anymore. I've already done it about 10 times, but that is something that students again and again tell us is the best thing about studying at TAFE. Government owned and operated. We're really proud of the quality that we have, and we really trust in what students are studying and then the pathway to the University of Tasmania. So that wraps up my presentation. Yes, so I'm very lucky here that I also have Lam. We're very lucky we have a Vietnam market coordinator who I'm here with as well, which is fantastic, working in Vision First. And I think it's appropriate that you give a wave to everyone. So we know you're here, so you don't think I'm talking to a wall here, but this is Lam as well. The other thing just wanted to acknowledge is that we know that a lot of you are in Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane and Adelaide and all over Australia. And when you're considering Tasmania, it is speaks in Vietnamese. Good one. I don't have Vietnamese. I'm going to have to learn from you. Someone can write thank you in the comments and I'll do my best at pronouncing it. We'll have some fun. Thanks, Nikki. But we know that a lot of you are traveling, and so we just wanted to acknowledge that for the month of December, anyone who applies through Vision First will be waiving our $300 application administration fee. So you can use that money on your flights down to Tasmania to start your study here. So that's anyone who applies in December through Vision First, and hopefully that can help you when you are considering moving and coming down here. So I think I've used up all my time. I just wanted to thank Vision First. Thank you to Lam, who's done a phenomenal work with Vision First and with all of the stakeholders in putting on this event, and wish everyone a happy Tasmania week and look forward to seeing you in Tasmania.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much for your interesting and attractive part of TAFE. And well, we always save the best for last. Is that right, Tamara? Tamara, can you hear me? Yeah,
I can. Yes.
Yeah. We always save the best for last. Yeah. So I would like to invite you to introduce about UTAS, my beloved university, and the key courses for next year as well as the scholarship. Welcome, Tamara.
Thank you very much. And before I start, I just again really want to thank Vision First for hosting us today and also for the support of Study Tasmania in this Tasmania week. So my name is Tamara. I'm the regional manager for both Australia and also Vietnam. I'm very fortunate to also look after the Vietnam market as well. So today I'm just going to give you a little bit of an introduction into our university, along with the courses that we have available and the scholarships on offer as well. And then hopefully you'll have lots of questions for me and the rest of the panel later on tonight. So firstly, for those that don't know, the University of Tasmania is the 4th oldest university in Australia and now over 125 years old. We're also very unusual, similar to TAFE, that we really are the only university in the state of Tasmania. So that means we have very strong relationships with both the state and federal government, the local business community, and just the wider community at large, which does allow our students to have a lot of different opportunities. And it also means that our alumni network is very strong as well, being the only university in the state. So a lot of the local employers in Tasmania are UTAS alumni, which I think is very important to note. So our university has around 36,000 students across Tasmania, as well as in even our small campus in Sydney for those wishing to study nursing. So it's a medium-sized university, but still quite large. So we have campuses in Hobart, where I'm based, which is where our main campus is. We also have our second largest campus in Launceston. We also do have a small campus in the northwest of Tasmania, but international students would only usually go there if they're looking at maybe PhD studies in rural health or agricultural science. But mainly it is the Launceston and Hobart campuses. We also have just over 320 Vietnamese students currently studying with us. So we've seen a big increase over the last 5 to 6 years with Vietnamese students coming to study with us, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see that Vietnamese community grow and get really involved in our community, particularly through things such as the Vietnam Student Association, which does such a fantastic job of making the local community aware of Vietnamese culture. Now, for those that aren't aware, we are a university that is very strong in research. So we are in the top 300 in the world for our research, also in the top 50 in the Asia Pacific region for the Times Higher Education rankings. But I actually prefer to talk more about the individual discipline rankings because I find those a little bit more interesting. You can get a stronger understanding around our strengths in the research. So we are very strong in the STEM area, so the sciences. So to give you an example, we are in the top 10 globally for marine and freshwater biology, oceanography and fisheries science. Actually, that's quite important because in actual fact, similar to Vietnam, aquaculture is very important. So we've had a lot of Vietnamese students study aquaculture with us. The same with things like agricultural science as well. So also things like marine and ocean engineering, we're ranked in the top 30 globally, just to give you an idea. We also have a huge range of courses available, and I won't talk through all of them unless people have different questions at the end. But just to give you an example, we do have a very huge health faculty where you can study things like pharmacy, medicine, nursing. So we do offer a 3-year nursing program in our Launceston campus, and we do actually have places still available for semester 1 in 2021. We also offer social work in both our Launceston and Hobart campuses. We have a strong business school that is very focused on preparing our students for work upon graduation. We also do offer things such as, ICT and engineering and architecture. And again, we're very strong in that marine and maritime space. In particular, at our university, we have the Australian Maritime College, which is based in Launceston. And AMC, as we like to call it, is Australia's only specialist maritime institute. So that makes it very unique. And also means we're very connected to the maritime sector, whether that's logistic companies or the Australian Defence Force. So we've had a number of Vietnamese students study at AMC with us, particularly in the logistics area. So at our university, you can do a diploma in the logistics area right up to PhD. So we do have the masters as well, and you don't necessarily need that experience in logistics as long as you've done the equivalent of a bachelor degree, we can generally do packaged offers into our MBA in the logistics area as well. So we have a couple of different options there. Also, very quickly, we do have foundation at our university, as well as international first-year diplomas in areas such as engineering, business and science. At our university, we also do have really world-class facilities. So you'll see here in that interesting picture that's with the strange-looking windows, that's actually our medical science precinct. So that facility cost, I think, over 100 million Australian dollars to build, and it's right across the road from Hobart, our major hospital in Tasmania. And our students that are studying medicine, psychology, medical research are based there. There's also pictures there of our Australian Maritime College in the Stimulation Centre, which is pretty cool. You can actually, you know, have a go on it sometimes and pretend you're sailing through under the Sydney Harbour Bridge. We've even had students get a little bit seasick from time to time, which is quite funny. Probably not for them though, but just gives you an idea. Because we are obviously a public university, all our revenue goes back into the university, ensuring that our students have the best facilities, access to the best teaching staff. What I'd also like to talk to you about today is our scholarships. I understand scholarships are very important for international students, particularly during this time, especially for those that might be actually in Australia at the moment and have maybe had some difficulties with casual employment due to the pandemic. So at our university, we really try our best to support our international students where we can with different scholarships, recognising academic excellence and other different things. So our main scholarship program is the Tasmanian International Scholarship. So this provides a 25% tuition reduction off your program for the duration of the course. So we automatically assess students for this scholarship when they put in an application. So if you're successful, we'll let you know, and we'll take 25% even off the initial deposit payment that you would have to make. So this is available to all of our programs, with the exception of medicine and our seafaring programs at bachelor and master by coursework level. But what's more exciting at the moment is we do have even a special scholarship just for ASEAN students in the undergraduate area that are interested in that science and technology space. So we've found over the years that our Vietnamese students that study the sciences are some of our best students and, go on to do very well studying the sciences at our university. And I know some of you might, currently already be in Australia, but I guess particularly if you've got any younger family, back in Vietnam, or even some younger brothers or sisters in year 12 here in Australia, we have up to 50% tuition scholarships for ASEAN students that are wanting to study a bachelor with us in our College of Sciences and Engineering next year. So that could be things like your Bachelor of ICT, which I know is quite popular with the Vietnamese, particularly the young men. Also things like architecture and design, engineering, just to name a couple. So in order to get that scholarship, we're looking for students that have maybe got the equivalent of 8.6 out of 10 or above in the Vietnam system, or an ATAR of 90 for Australian year 12. Just to give you an idea. And for those that don't get that 50% scholarship, we'll still consider them for the 25% scholarship. And for those that aren't eligible for the academic merit-based scholarships, they'll still get a 10% ASEAN Careers in Science and Technology award as well. At the moment, we also do still have places for our Bachelor of Nursing in Sydney, and any applicants that are eligible for our Bachelor of Nursing in Sydney will automatically get a 15% scholarship, but will still be assessed for that 25% scholarship. So at our university, we do have fast-track nursing, which is basically the 3-year nursing degree into 2 calendar years. So it's quite an intensive course. Available, we have that in Sydney as well as Hobart, but we don't really have many places left in Hobart. But we do have plenty of places left in Launceston and Sydney. Also, just on the off chance we have any high achieving students that are studying Year 12 in Australia at the moment and looking to study medicine, we do actually have a special scholarship for Vietnamese students who are made an offer into our Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery next year of 15%, as well as some accommodation support available. So our medical school is really trying to diversify at the moment, and would love to see a couple of Vietnamese students each year studying medicine with us. At the moment, our College of Business and Economics also has some scholarships available for both Bachelor and Master by Coursework programs, with the exception of our Master of Professional Accounting programs. So to be eligible for that 50% scholarship, we'd be looking for somebody that's got, again, that equivalent of around the ATAR of 90 or 8.6 out of 10 if they've studied in the Vietnamese system. Or if they say, for example, have just done a bachelor degree in Australia, we would be looking around that 80% mark or above in order to get the 50% scholarship. And then also, even for our Bachelor of Economics, if you're a Year 12 student, you only need the equivalent of an 85% to get that 50% scholarship, but there are only a limited number of those merit scholarships for the Bachelor of Economics as well. So that just gives you, I guess, a little bit of an idea of some of the scholarships that we have available at the moment at the University of Tasmania. We could potentially still have some other scholarships that come out from now until the beginning of semester 1, but many of them, as you can see, are very geared towards recognising academic excellence. But there is a lot of options there in terms of the courses that have scholarships available. We also have a very strong work integrated learning program at our university. So obviously, for many courses, work integrated learning or placements are incorporated into different degrees, such as health, ICT, social work, teaching and architecture and design, just to name a few. So many of these courses, it's part of the program, and we'll actually support our students in finding those placements, which is obviously, again, very easy to do considering we are the only university in the state and people are very familiar with our curriculum, because in many cases we'll actually consult, similar to TAFE, with the local community and understand the needs of the business community when we're actually developing our curriculum and reviewing it regularly. But also within our business school, we do have a very successful corporate internship program where students can actually apply to undertake a placement within a business within the local community. So just within our business school, we have over 200 internship partners, and that's only growing as we invest more time into corporate internships, work integrated learning at our university. So it's quite an exciting process because students do have to apply to undertake a corporate internship. And then they even have to do an interview. And that's also just helping building your skills as well. So yeah, that's something that we're very strong in and really trying to increase the support that we provide our students in preparing them for employment after graduation, just to try and give our graduates that edge, over other applicants as well. And we've been very successful with many of our students, including international students who have done these corporate internships, have very often been, able to secure employment very quickly after graduation. And I even personally know some students that have had job offers before they've even graduated fully which is wonderful news. So in summary, our university is obviously a globally recognised research institution, and that is important even for somebody that is not looking to do a PhD, because what it means is our world-class researchers still do teach into coursework programs. So you will have access to world-renowned researchers, which can obviously make your studies very interesting. Again, as you've heard today, Tasmania is a very safe and welcoming community that embraces diversity. We do have very strong opportunities for internships and work preparation activities, and these are only growing more. Obviously, we have generous scholarships, and again, it's still a place that you can continue to improve your English. That will obviously help you upon graduation. While many of you might already be studying in places like Melbourne and Sydney, it's always important to obviously continue to improve that English to ensure that it's top notch for when you graduate and you're looking to, get jobs in, international environments, whether that's Australia, or the US or the UK, or an international company back in Vietnam. But that's all I'll talk through today, just because I'm aware of the time, and I'm really more keen to answer different questions at the end of this session from people as well. So thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, Tamara, for your introduction about UTAS. I think that all of you now are know more information about how to study and live in Tasmania through the introduction of our speaker. And in addition to the support from the government and the school, students coming to Tasmania can also receive the support from Visa TAFE. So who are we? And can you see on the screen that we are a not-profit organization, and our vision is to become the first point of contact for students when they arrive in Tasmania and during their learning journey in Tasmania. Students can join the community to share information and assist each other with accommodation, job seeking, cultural adaptation, homesickness, migration, and so on. We usually have many social and cultural events yearly to provide students supportive activities and also make significant contribution to the local businesses and the local Tasmanian community. For instance, in this challenging year, we could carry out up to 23 events. Kristen, can you help me to move to the second slide? Yeah, we could carry out up to 23 events, both online and face-to-face. We could free up to 500 meals and 150 grocery bags during the COVID-19 pandemic for students. In the Moon Festival, we could give away 220 moon cakes for students. And one of the important things is that we can collaborate with the Bhutanese community to organize the first friendly football match between the two communities. So we really want the students who live in Tasmania can expand their network and support them the most during their journey in Tasmania. So now we will move to the panel discussion with all the speakers. Before we can collect the questions from the audience to our speaker, we will welcome to the two remaining young guests from today. The first one is Mr. Edgar Ho. Could you please share with us some tips and experience on increasing employability in Tasmania? So welcome, Edgar.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Before I start, hope that everyone that you know is safe from COVID-19. As far as I'm aware, I think in Vietnam, the COVID-19 situation there is quite stable. And I heard this from a graduate who sent me a text message the other day, and we were just talking about what they're doing in Vietnam. And they finished studying hospitality here in TAFE, and they've opened a cafe in Vietnam. So that's just one of the perks if you study at TAFE. Not only do you have skills for staying in Tasmania, you have skills that you can bring home as well if that's what you wish to do. So just a bit about myself. I know most of the panel here has heard this before, so I'm kind of laughing. But I came here 20 years ago as a young boy, and I studied in government schools in Hobart and studied at the University of Tasmania, a very proud alumni, and then I worked there as well. The first tip I have for international students when they get here is to get involved with the community. Tasmania is a very, very small network of communities, which is a good thing because it means once you get in, you are in, you're there. It's not like bigger cities like Melbourne, Sydney, or Brisbane, where you're kind of just a drop in the ocean and you can disappear. Another point I'd like to make is that with studying at a school like TAFE or the University of Tasmania, because there are lesser international students, we're able to give you all of our attention. So I'll just take this moment to talk a little bit about what we do at TAFE. We have a very strong focus on including students in all of our conversations in relation to their student journey, from the beginning of when they apply and accept their offer to study at TAFE, all the way until they finish their graduation. Just like Jimmy mentioned, there was a job opportunity at Best Western. He heard about it, sent it to me. I've got a list of all our graduates, and I just popped out the emails and messages, and someone got a job. So, you know, this is something that we at TAFE are very passionate about. For me personally, coming as an international student, and I think I can speak for our team as well, that we understand that this is your life and it's your future. It's not just, oh, I'm going to come to Australia and study for a couple of years. 99% of our students are here to make a life change and to make Tasmania or Australia their home. And so we understand that, and we want to help you along that journey. So some of the things that we help you with include like accommodation information. A lot of our students, they actually don't need help finding accommodation. They would like some information about where are the good places to live in Tasmania. Yes, and I'm very honest here, so I'm not a marketing guy. I'm a student support guy. So there are some parts of Tasmania that you might not want to live if you're an international student. It's the case like that everywhere in Australia. There are just some of the places that are less friendly to international students, and students want to know that. So we give that information to them. As Jimmy said, we arrange a free airport pickup for you. We can also meet you there at the airport. We also help with student counseling. So we do things like your course counseling, career counseling, or even personal counseling. For example, if you have a problem in your course, we will help you try to solve that problem. If you're looking for a job, we can help you to fix up your resume or arrange a session with our English language and learning support teachers to work on your resume, work on your interview skills, your spoken interview skills and written interview skills. We also like to do things that are related to the social networking aspect of being in Tasmania. So because Tasmania is a smaller community, it's easier for us as TAFE to make those networks with volunteer organizations or the city council to create volunteer opportunities for you. And previously, like we spoke about, or as presented in the Migration TAS presentation, some of the things that they look for is your volunteering and your involvement in Tasmania, and we can help you create those opportunities. The thing that, as an international student advisor at TAFE, that really drives me to support students is to focus on those positive outcomes. And that also includes giving students the knowledge and the skills to make Tasmania their home. So it's not about just giving the answers to you, it's about trying to help you adapt to life in Tasmania. An analogy or an example that I kind of just thought up the other day was, I don't know how many of you do exercise or weightlifting, but you know, like in weightlifting, you have a spotter, someone who helps you. You guys are lifting the weights and we are the spotters. If you don't try to lift, I can't lift it for you. So we have to work together to achieve a positive outcome. I think Tasmania being the place that it is, there are also a lot of emotional connections that you make with the community. For example, during COVID-19, a lot of our international students were in difficult situations. They reached out to places like the Hobart City Mission, Show Hope Tasmania, the Multicultural Council of Tasmania, and all of these different organizations opened their arms, welcomed them with open arms. And now that things are better in Tasmania, the students have in turn volunteered, and some of them have found employment at these places, like the Red Cross, Volunteering Tasmania. So it's really amazing how that works. From my own experience at the University of Tasmania, where I first found a job, I was casually, or I was volunteering there for all these sorts of projects before I got my first job. So volunteering is kind of a pathway to building your career path. A final point that I would like to give to all international students that I often give to our students is never underestimate the value of you, the person right there. You bring a lot to Australia, and you will bring a lot to Tasmania when you come here. You bring your cultural practices, your knowledge of the world, another part of the world that many people in Australia have probably not been to. You bring your languages, but most importantly, you bring a fresh view and idea for how things can be done in Australia. It's just like if an Australian went to Vietnam, they will see things how they're done, how it's been practiced there, and they will say, hey, there's another way to do it. So don't devalue how much knowledge and value you bring to Australia. Always give it a go. I can promise you that if you come to TAFE to study, you will have an excellent time with the international student advisors, because we love having these conversations with you. And the most important thing is that you learn something along the way of your journey.
Yeah. Thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Edgar, for your supportive information. And now my beautiful young Vietnamese Vi Phạm, a former student of UTAS, will share with you her own experience of living, studying, and working in UTAS. Welcome, Vi.
Thanks, chị Giang, and thank you everyone Vision First for having me here today. Actually, I feel quite precious to talk after Edgar because he made such a emotional speech. So I think I will just introduce myself in English, and then I probably will switch to Vietnamese because that's what Vision First has suggested. So my name is Vi. I'm currently working at UTAS as well in the careers team. So my role is to also similar to Edgar, support UTAS students to improve their employability skills and find jobs on campus or off campus. And so I think I should switch to Vietnamese now. Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Mình đã từng sống ở Melbourne 1 năm trước khi mình quyết định chuyển xuống Tasmania, bởi vì cũng giống như những người khác thì khi mình sang Úc thì lúc đầu mình cũng muốn được sống và học ở các thành phố lớn như Melbourne, Sydney, nhưng mà sau khi trải nghiệm 1 năm ở Úc thì mình thấy là rất là thích định cư ở đây và muốn ở lại hẳn. Thì lúc đó mình cũng được nhiều người bạn cung cấp các thông tin là chuyển xuống các vùng regional, đặc biệt là Tasmania đang rất là phổ biến, là một cái trend mới, và nhiều bạn bè của mình cũng bắt đầu chuyển xuống. Và lúc đó là năm 2018 thì mình cũng có tìm hiểu và thấy là như thế thì rất là tiện lợi cho mình, vì vừa có thể vẫn học được một bằng master và lại có thể có cơ hội định cư cao. Thì mình cũng đã nghe theo các bạn và đi xuống đây. Thì lúc đầu mình cũng có lo lắng nhiều thứ, nhưng mà như những bạn khác ở trên mainland cũng lo lắng là không biết đi xuống đây có buồn hơn mainland không, rồi có tìm được job không, rồi là kiểu mọi thứ nó có khó khăn không. Nhưng mà mình cũng nghĩ là dù gì thì ở đâu thì cũng vẫn là ở Úc, thì vẫn là một nước phát triển, và mình nghĩ là mọi chế độ các thứ thì nó cũng vẫn tốt như các nơi khác ở Úc. Cho nên là mình cũng đã quyết định chuyển xuống. Và khi chuyển xuống thì mình nghĩ các bạn cũng có thể nói là việc làm ở đây thì ít hơn so với mainland. Cái đấy là điều chắc chắn rồi, không thể phủ nhận được, tại vì dân số cũng ít hơn và diện tích thì cũng nhỏ hơn, cho nên là cái việc làm ít hơn là cũng hiển nhiên thôi. Nhưng mà việc đầu tiên mà mình nghĩ và mình cảm thấy sáng suốt khi mình quyết định làm là thay vì mình đâm đầu vào tìm những công việc công việc có lương trước, thì mình nghĩ là mình có thể thử làm cái gì đấy để giúp mình có thêm nhiều connections ở trong cộng đồng, ví dụ như kiểu volunteer. Thì mình cũng có đi làm volunteer ở vài tổ chức non-profit ở Hobart, và qua những cái công việc volunteer đấy thì mình bắt đầu quen thêm được nhiều người, có nhiều professional connection, rồi bắt đầu có thêm nhiều kinh nghiệm để cho lên resume của mình. Thì sau khi bắt đầu làm các công việc volunteer được một thời gian rồi, thì mình bắt đầu cũng tìm các công việc on campus. Thì cũng như tất cả các trường đại học khác thì UTAS cũng có on campus jobs for students. Thì mình cũng có apply, và như cô Hobart cũng có nói thì ở UTAS còn có đặc biệt là có một cái chương trình internship for international students là iPrep program. Thì mình cũng có đăng ký cái đó, và mình nhờ cái chương trình iPrep đấy mà mình được đi thực tập ở một local council là Glenorchy City Council. Thì khi mà mình làm intern ở đấy thì mình học được rất là nhiều skills và thu thập được rất là nhiều kinh nghiệm luôn. Tức là người ta mặc dù là cái internship sẽ unpaid, nhưng mà mình cảm thấy là nó là một cái trải nghiệm thật sự là rất quý giá trong lúc mình ở Úc. Thì nhờ sau khi hoàn thành cái internship đấy mà mình có thể tìm được cái công việc tốt như là công việc mình hiện làm bây giờ sau khi tốt nghiệp. Thì mình thấy là từ cái công việc, từ những cái việc nhỏ như là volunteer, rồi bắt đầu làm quen với những người ở đây, rồi đi thực tập, rồi apply những cái job on campus hay là off campus, thì nó cũng rất là có ích cho cái hồ sơ của mình lúc mà mình tốt nghiệp xong để xin việc. Và ngoài ra thì ngoài ra thì hiện giờ mình cũng đã có visa 190 rồi, và mình nghĩ là nhờ những cái công việc và những cái việc volunteer mình làm thì nó thể hiện là mình commitment với bang của mình cao. Cho nên là mình lúc mà mình nộp hồ sơ visa 190 thì cũng khá là thuận lợi. Cho nên là mình cảm thấy là cái lựa chọn mà xuống Tasmania sống là rất là sáng suốt. Bởi vì nếu mà bây giờ mình vẫn còn ở Melbourne thì có lẽ là mình cũng học xong bằng master và cũng có thể là có đi làm ở đâu đấy, nhưng mà sau đó thì sẽ không biết là sẽ đi đâu về đâu, có thể là sẽ đi về Việt Nam hoặc không biết nữa. Nhưng mà bởi vì lúc đó quyết định chuyển xuống Tasmania đầu năm 2018 mà, cho nên là đầu năm 2020 này mình đã có PR rồi, thì mình cảm thấy đấy là một cái con đường rất là nhanh chóng. Và mình biết là kiểu có nhiều người kiểu sang Úc cũng khá lâu nhưng mà cũng chưa được PR ấy, thì mình cảm thấy là mình may mắn hơn, tại vì mình đã tìm ra cái con đường này sớm để mà mình không có phí thời gian của mình. Mình nghĩ đấy là chia sẻ của mình. Mà mình happy trả lời những câu hỏi của các bạn nữa khi là trong mấy panel discussions này.
Yeah, thank you, MB Phạm, for your inspiration sharing. So now we will move to the part for the panel discussion, and we will answer the questions from the audience.
Okay. Sorry. Can we start with some live questions first, because people have lots of questions here. Let me show it one by one, and then we mix with the pre-collected questions. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the first one. Okay.
We have a question from Tạ. I intend to study Master of Logistics Management. Is this occupation in the prioritized list and easy to getting a job after graduation, and have any chance for PR? I think this question, I need the support from Christine and UTAS. Yeah, so could you please answer this question?
Yeah, I think Tamara, can you share with your experience and your like the story of the Master of Logistics? Because I know that AMC is the college of the Australian Maritime College. Yeah, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I can really only speak to, I guess, the job opportunities in this space. I can't really obviously talk about the migration aspect. I'll leave that to you, Christine. But definitely in the logistics area, there is strong employment prospects. I would talk, though, more about, I guess, across Australia. So we have our graduates actually get jobs not just in Tasmania, but also in places like Sydney and Fremantle in Western Australia, or Perth. So studying logistics with us doesn't just confine you to employment in Tasmania or even just back in Vietnam, but there is opportunities across the country. So we have had both Australian and international graduates in the logistics area get jobs, not just in Tasmania, but other parts of Australia. Also, we do get many Vietnamese graduates that will sometimes actually go back to Vietnam and get jobs in logistics roles back in Vietnam, because maybe they have family businesses and those different types of things. But definitely as a result of COVID and the global pandemic, there has been obviously a huge increase in that logistics space, with people ordering so much more online, and that's obviously creating different types of jobs. It's not just down to the delivery drivers, it's also those people in those business roles. So logistics is only on the increase. Even before the pandemic, there was definitely an increase in employment opportunities in Australia for that space. And even at the Australian Maritime College, what we do to support our students is once a year, we will have an annual careers fair where we'll get employers from across Australia fly down and spend 2 days with our students, talking to them about potential jobs in their companies, as well as giving them talks around their different industries. So, and that includes logistic companies as well, not just, engineering.
Okay, thank you, Tamara. You see, so from Tamara's speech, you can see that maritime and logistics is one of the strengths of UTAS. Regarding the migration part, so before you want to apply for the nomination of Tasmania, you need to satisfy 3 criteria of the Department of Home Affairs. Firstly is the PTE 50 or IELTS 6.0 for all bands. Secondly, a skill assessment, a positive skill assessment, and lastly, you need to collect 65 points in your point test, and then after study the Master of Logistics Management, and if you show enough commitment to the state, I think that it's gonna be positive. But you have to be aware that you need to solve your skill assessment first. So if you have any, like, if you want me to consult you on the skill assessment, you can just inbox us. Yeah, hope it helps. Okay, move on to the next question. This question is directed to Nikki.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I read that one earlier. Okay, so in relation to this one, yes, we do currently have an interim period with our nominations, and you can imagine it was quite a difficult time for Migration Tasmania when Home Affairs announced this sort of procedure, as we didn't want to disappoint our visa state nomination applicants. Some of the other states did close down, that's correct, and are still closing. But that's something that we preferred not to do, because we didn't want to have that shut down, and you know, we could keep going if we worked through it carefully. So when the actual interim period started, we actually sent an email out to all of our current applicants to consult with them, asking them if they would like to prioritise their application if it met the Home Affairs requirements, or if they wanted to retain their application in the system, and we would assess it when we got to it as soon as we could, and then or if this was mainly also for overseas applicants, if they wanted a refund and to withdraw their application to apply at another time when able. So we consulted with our applicants. We've tried to be as transparent as we can with our process and as fair as we can, considering as many people as we can. So at the moment, we're getting very low on our initial quota that Home Affairs gave us. So the people that meet the critical eligibility are still being processed. As soon as those applications arrive, they're being processed as per Home Affairs stipulation. And we're now starting to work through our oldest applications as well. So we felt that was the fairest way to handle this situation, because we realised that some people had been waiting 5 or 6 months. So that's what we're looking at the moment. And we've also just recently put on 2 new program officers as well. So we're definitely conscious of our commitment to the program and trying to make it work the best we can. So, and at the moment, we still haven't heard back from Home Affairs regarding our new quota. So that's all up in the air at the moment. So we're waiting. Every day we wait and we hope that we're going to get this quota so that we can reopen the program. And, well, I mean, it wasn't technically closed, but it has been restricted, and just get back to normal.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki, for your answer. Now we will move to another questions from the audience. Hello.
Okay, so now we're back on. Couldn't hear anyone. Chắc là em bị giật quá. Anh thấy em không nhỉ?
Dạ, chị vẫn thấy em.
Hello.
Nhưng mà màn hình thì không có hiện lên. I have a pre-collected question, so I think we can raise it now and we can give the answer to the audience. I have a question from the student that how much does it cost for the whole chef course in Tasmania? I think this one, James from TAFE can have to answer to the student. So can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, apologies. Can you please just repeat that? How much it costs for the whole
chef course?
The travel?
No, commercial cookery.
Commercial. Oh, chef. Apologies.
Yeah,
cookery. Yeah. So for that whole course, it's just over $30,000. So the first year is a larger payment. The first year you do certificate 3 in commercial cookery, and that course is $18,000. And that's more expensive because for a whole year you're in the kitchen. So you're using kind of top quality Tasmanian ingredients. It's a lot of very practical courses, and there are only 16 people allowed in the kitchen at once. So that one's more expensive. And in the second year, it's significantly cheaper. So the package comes down because the second year is more the theoretical components of hospitality management. Hopefully that helps. But the whole program, I'll post in the chat, so it's all there. It makes it a little bit easier, but it's just over $36,000, and I'll post in the chat the link as well to our course guide, so you can have a look together. It might make it a lot easier. Fantastic. So
yes, I think that this is quite enough for the student, and if she or he want to have more information, can contact directly with the actor or task staff to have more information. Because we don't have time, so we will try to move to another question to try to answer as many to the audience. So I think thank you, Jim.
Absolutely.
I think the next question I will need the supporting from UTAS and James too. If I'm studying nursing, will I get an automatic scholarship, or do I have to meet certain requirements?
Okay. Are you okay if I just start first, James? Yeah, sure. Okay, please. So there is a couple of different options at the moment. So if somebody was studying our Bachelor of Nursing in our Sydney campus, they would get an automatic 15% scholarship, but we would, of course, assess them for the 25% scholarship. But that is an academic merit-based scholarship. So in the case of our Bachelor of Nursing in Launceston, the 25% scholarship is based on your last completed studies, or if you've just, for example, done the first year of a Bachelor of Science, we would base the assessment on your first year of your Bachelor of Science result. So it is relating to your GPA in your academic transcripts. So you usually need to have around 75–80% in order to qualify for that scholarship. One of the other things that I should point out, though, with our Bachelor of Nursing, particularly in our Launceston campus, that Launceston is an area that's much more affordable to live in, even compared to somewhere like Hobart and Melbourne and Sydney. So students can save money through lower rental costs in Launceston. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Tamara. We also have a very interesting questions. Are there any PR changes for carpenters in Tasmania?
Sorry, for carpenters, did you say?
Yes, carpenters.
It is definitely an area that we look at as a skill shortage, as is part of the construction side of things, as construction industry. So we do look at it, whether or not it's PR or whether or not it's a subclass 491. That would all depend on eligibility and in the competitive process, how they come through. So yeah, we can't promise one that it's going to be PR, but definitely open to carpenters for sure. Yes.
Thank you, Nikki. Hope it helps to the student that raised this question. Another question is about the age for the student. I think that because Tasmania is very attractive and even their own student, they want to apply to study in Tasmania. So that's the reason why we receive the kinds of questions. I am 37 or I'm 38 years old. Can I apply for a visa for vocational training and get PR in Tasmania? So
sorry, was that that's for me?
So I think this one, can Christine or James help me to answer this question to the audience? You need me to repeat the question again. I am 33. I'm 37 years old. Can I apply for a visa for vocational training and gain PR in Tasmania?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do you want to answer first?
Yeah, of course. I can answer the first bit. With 37, you are more than welcome to apply to study at TAFE. We don't have a maximum age. We actually had someone apply this week from Vietnam who was in their 50s. They wanted to come and study horticulture. So there you go. But when it comes to PR, I'll pass back to the migration agent or migration team. I think I'll take the easy half of the question.
All right. Well, there is another thing I want to add with James is that we have to care about your student visa application as well. So the Department of Home Affairs, when you apply for a student visa, they will consider your genuine intention like to study. So you have to explain it very well from your background. How does it relate to the vocational study that you want to take in TAFE? Yeah, something like that. And for your PR, it really depends on, so just come back to the previous question. So we have to go through 3 main criteria of the Department of Home Affairs: English, competent English, the skill assessment, the point at 65, and also what kind of course you want to apply. If you have a very specific questions, I recommend you to inbox us or make a booking with us. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's never too late to study, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Never too late.
And another question is for you, Christine. Would opening a business and buying a house guarantee for getting visa 190 approval in Tasmania? So I think Christine and Nikki can answer to.
Yeah, let's see. Well, that is a very interesting question because, yeah, I'm not sure why the myth came to the Vietnamese community. Like, I mean, in Vietnam, offshore, if I can buy a house in Australia, I can become a permanent resident. But let me confirm, is not an option at all. Okay. For the business, I think it is a very interesting stream. If you want to talk about the small business owner stream in the 491, Nikki?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Just bear with me for a second. I'll just grab so that I can read it straight from our website, so I don't miss anything. But just bear with me. Okay, so the small business stream, it is quite competitive, as has become more and more competitive over the years. So basically the business needs to have been operating in Tasmania for at least 6 months, and it needs to be solely owned. So it can't be a franchise or a partnership. Sometimes we get questions from people saying, oh, hang on a second, I'm off mute, am I? I'm just checking. Oh, yes, I am. That's okay. So we do get people who ask us about, oh, if I go into a partnership with somebody, can I apply for the small business owner? No, it has to be a sole trader, basically. And we also like to see the evidence of the income that the business has made, a business plan, an ongoing business plan for the intention of the business. And as per the requirement for the subclass 491, a demonstration where that business can can produce the $53,900 per year requirement of Home Affairs if you're looking to go towards permanent residency. So you need to do research about the local markets and understand industry conditions and licensing and registration. On my presentation earlier, I mentioned a couple of websites. One is the Business Tasmania website, which is fantastic, free information. A lot of it is free information to help people get started. They just are a wonderful service. Also service station ownership, massage clinics, taxi driving. Unfortunately, those sort of occupations and related occupations are not supported under the category of small business owner. I don't know what else I can tell you about that. It is all there. If you do have a look at the website and you do have any questions, please send us an email because we're quite quick to respond and always happy to elaborate if anyone has any further queries.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. Another question I think is for Hobart and Nikki too. What types of commitments are highly so would you like me to read the new question first, or I'll continue?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the question for Ms. Hobart and Ms. Nikki regarding post-COVID economy and new federal migration budget, which results in the dramatic decrease in visa surplus 190 and 491 quotas. Can you update any changes in how Tasmanian government assesses and prioritizes the conditions when nominating visa surplus 190 and 491?
Yeah, okay. Harps, are you happy for me to chat there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the moment, we don't know what the quota is, and we haven't really had a clear indication of what it's going to be. So that's all up in the air. However, the visa state nomination process will continue to roll as it does, depending on what quota is handed down. Once again, competitive process. So, you know, look at your studies, what you'd like to undertake as your studies and where that fits into the industry and what your employment prospects are going to be, that sort of thing, because it is a competitive process. We're not expecting, you know, massive changes with the program as such, but it will be just business, you know, going, once it opens, restrictions are lifted, we're going to have to reassess how we process. We can't go into the nitty-gritty of the assessment process. That's the business of the Tasmanian government, and all states work separately. But all I can say is that we will continue to roll. If we do get a limited quota, we may need to look at breaking it down into monthly nomination totals to make sure it's properly managed. But the 190 and the 491 continue to be assessed as they've always been. There's been no discussion about changes there, or you know, preferring one over the other, that sort of thing.
And Nikki, I might just add that the purpose of the program again is to fill the skill shortages in the state. So regardless of what the quota is, I guess the overall vision is to ensure that through the program that you know, we get skilled people who want to live in Tasmania and want to help fill skill shortages. So the industries that are important to the state play a huge part in that as well. Thanks.
We have questions from the student for UTAS. What are the entry requirements for medical degrees?
So would that be for our Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery?
The question didn't mention exactly the bachelor or master yet, so okay, you can answer in general.
Okay. So in the case of our Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. This is a 5-year degree based in Hobart initially. We're one of the few universities in Australia that still have an undergraduate medicine program. So that means we will accept high school leavers. We also do still now consider maybe applicants that have already done, say, a bachelor, in the sciences, like, laboratory medicine, or, even a medical degree in Vietnam, for example. But in the case of somebody that's, say, just about to finish year 12 in Australia, we would be looking for someone that has got the equivalent of an ATAR of 95 or above. Sometimes we might take some students that are a little bit lower than an ATAR of 95 if they've got other attributes that are really good. So things like the ISAT test. So one of the other entry requirements for us is students need to do the International Student Admissions Test, which is very important. So that test requires a strong result as well. Ideally, we like people that have got an overall percentile of over 50 in order to be considered. Students also need to have completed mathematics and chemistry in their year 11 and 12 studies. And also you do need to do an IELTS test and get the equivalent of an IELTS 7 with no band less than 7. For those that might be applying to us through graduate entry, you would need to be looking at getting that sort of distinction average or above to be considered, plus also still doing the ISAT test as well. But I'm happy to send through, any information directly, even just to Vision first, with more details on that after this event. But applications are still open for our medicine program for semester 1 next year, and we still do have places available. And that course, for those that actually can't make it to Tasmania, will be offered fully online as well for semester 1. I hope that helps.
Yeah. Thank you, Tamara. We will have around 10 minutes for the webinar, and I think we will try to cover the remaining questions for 5 minutes, and we will save the 5 minutes last for the game. Is that okay, Christine?
Yeah, that's surely.
Yeah. So another question is popping up. Thank you so much. I have enrolled in the Master of Planning at UTAS and will take the first semester in February 2021. I would like to ask whether UTAS has a plan to bring international students to the state.
Okay, so that's a great question. I congratulate you on your choice of course, because the Master Planning is an excellent program. It's one of my favourite ones to talk about because there is really good employment opportunities in planning at the moment. But in terms of bringing, so I'm presuming that you're actually based in Vietnam at the moment. So at the moment, obviously the international borders are still closed. We obviously understand that recently, a trial is underway where we've just, the Darwin have actually just received about 70 international students, and they're the first, territory or state in Australia to do so. So I think basically other governments, state governments are sort of, watching to see how that trial goes as to whether that will be expanded. But at the moment, we don't have any active plans. Obviously, we're hoping, like everybody else, that the federal government might make some announcement in the new year about international students. But at the moment, we have no firm plan in place. We're just, waiting on advice from the federal government. Saying that, though, obviously the Master Planning will be offered fully online for semester 1 next year for those that, aren't able to get to Tasmania. And the Master Planning staff are exceptional. Some of our best academics are in the School of Geography and Spatial Sciences, and I've only got good feedback from students around how that course is being conducted online. So really at the moment it's a wait and see in the new year as to what will happen in that space.
Yeah.
I might just add add to that a bit more. So Tamara is right. So there's a pilot underway at the moment. So Northern Territory has got their 63 students in on Monday. South Australia has a pilot plan in place as well, and sometime next year that would happen. The other states are waiting and seeing what's happening. But in terms of if you commence your studies online, in migration, sorry, Department of Home Affairs and even Migration Tasmania has, I guess, provided some flexibility around the requirements that we currently have. So the 2-year study requirements for the state, as well as the federal government's requirements, there's flexibility to allow people to commence their study online first and still be eligible for, the criteria, to meet the criteria for a state nomination process, for example. So we know that we want people to come back as soon as they can, but we also want to make sure that it's safe for our students to come back. So as a result of that, we've introduced flexibility in our migration program to facilitate that students can be confident that when they start studying online overseas, that they will still meet the Tasmanian government state nomination requirement. More details are on the website that clearly outlines what the flexibilities are. And so if you study online, you are still on track to meet the state nomination requirements. And once we are safely able to do so, I assume that a process will be in place.
Yeah, thank you, Tamara and Hobart. We have, I think, this is the last question that we can answer to the audience. And the other questions, the student can inbox to Vision First, and then Vision First can reply later after this event. This last question is for V and Edgar. It is hard to be employed in Tasmania. Any tips for inexperienced job applicants? Can you share me? So I think Edgar and V can share to answer this question. Well.
Can I go first?
Yeah, lady first, I think.
So I think there's several ways for you to get, I guess, polish your skills and resume. I would recommend, if you're a first semester student, then you should make use of all UTAS employability resources. So we have Career Connect, UTAS career system, with everything in there, from how to build your resume, cover letter, selection criteria, how to practice for interviews, and a lot of other things, like even how to choose your careers, how to improve your networking skill, blah, blah, blah. So we have a lot of resource in there. And also, you, like I mentioned before, you can start with volunteering. If you find that finding a part-time or casual job is a bit difficult, and start with volunteering. There's so many volunteering opportunities, always so many opportunities in Tasmania for you to enroll in, and also just make more connections with the communities through that, because Tasmania is very small and you will never know, like one connection can lead to another, it can lead to future jobs. So just make use of that. Can pass to Edgar. Want to add something, please?
So in addition to all those excellent points, a bit more from I guess a behavioral perspective. So what kind of mindset or approach you should take to job hunting or being employed is kind of applying for a job itself is kind of like a job. So there are 5 points that I usually give to our students, and this is just made up by my experience of figuring out how to apply for jobs myself. So I'm not a careers expert at all, but the first thing is technique. You have to look at the job that you're applying for, and every organization has a specific selection process, and you need to look at that process. It doesn't mean that, oh, I got a job last time in Melbourne or Sydney doing this application methodology and it worked. When you apply for UTAS, TAFE, Tasmanian government, there's all these things called selection criteria and selection processes, and you need to read them. They're really boring documents, but you need to read them because they tell you how to apply for the job. The second thing I tell students is you need to bring the right attitude. So people, when you write your application and go for the interview, you have to understand the people who are reading your application or interviewing you, they don't know who you are. So you might have done that exact job for 20 years or 10 years previously, but they don't know that. So you can't go into that interview like, oh yeah, I know how to do this job, so just give me the job. It's more, you know, you have to bring an approach that you're willing to learn and you would like to bring something to the table. The third thing is you have to do a bit of research. So what kind of requirements does the job have? You can always call someone who does that job. Usually they are happy to talk a little bit about it as long as you're not nagging them with a lot of questions. The fourth thing is think about what you can bring to the job that other people cannot. So there's going to be like 100 people applying for the same job, like marketing officer, for example. What can you bring to the table that nobody else can? What is unique? And the fifth and final thing, and this is true for anything related to the international student journey, is you have to have perseverance, meaning you have to have that willingness to not give up and keep on going. I'm just going to take a moment here to talk a bit about my own experience. I applied for the international student advisor job at the University of Tasmania 3 times, and I got knocked back 3 times. And when it came to the international student advisor position at TAFE, I almost didn't apply. But the wisest woman I ever met, my wife, said, you have to apply for it because you cannot give up. And so I applied for it, and here I am. There's more to that story, but I'll leave it there. Jimmy knows the story. I think Harpreet's heard it before as well. But there's a little bit more to that story. If you want to know more, send me a Facebook message. That's all I have for that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Edgar and V. So now we move to the most exciting part of the event, the Kahoot game section, and then we will have the prize for $250. So can we start now?
Yeah, sure. Just give me one moment to share my screen.
Are we eligible to play and win the money?
Yeah, can you like try to answer incorrectly?
Yes.
Deal. All right, let me share my screen first. Oh, what's the problem here? Do you hear the sound?
Yes, look very exciting.
Oops, I shared the wrong screen. Sorry about the technical issue. Yeah, here's the game pin. So pull your phone or your iPad out and type kahoot.it. Yeah, and then enter the game pin 2440170. 2440170. So 7 digits. Yeah, we have people coming in. Okay, Thảo. That's a very funny name, Thảo. Okay, I'm gonna close and enter the room in the next like 2 minutes. Hurry up and join us. Okay. You have 1 minute left to join. Okay, we have 20 people here. 30 seconds. Hurry up. You don't want to miss like $250 prize. The question is gonna be connection loss. Okay. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's start. How long is your 485 after your graduation of a bachelor or master degree in Tasmania? So 1.5 to 2 years, 2 years, 3 to 4 years, or 5 to 6 years. Okay, come on. That's a very easy question, yeah? On 18. We have like 18 answers here. Come on, the last one. Ten seconds left. Yeah, most of people answer it right. That's correct. Have to move to the next question. HP, is that hybrid? Oh no. Okay, let's see the next one. What are the criteria to apply for 190 nomination in Tasmania? First of all, IELTS 6.0 in on band plus the skill assessment, point test from 65, studied 2 years in Tasmania, all of the above. Which one? Yeah, 19 people answered correctly. Let's see who lead the board. Task team. Is that James? Come on, people. Okay, how much is the Dean of TSBE Merit Scholarship at the University of Tasmania? 25%, 50%, 75, or 100%? 50%. Yeah. 8 people answered correctly. Okay. Well, before coming to the last question, let me impose a rules for everyone in the panel, because people, the audience, the audience will see the questions, I think around like 30 seconds later than you guys. So please wait until 30 seconds to press your answer. Deal? Okay. Yay, another person, LK. Who is LK? That's good. Last question. How many campuses does TAFE have? Okay, no one in the panel answer, okay? All right, time for the panel. Oh, okay. Only 6 people answered right. So TAFE will have like 11 campuses around Tasmania. It's the 10th largest vocational TAFE in Australia. Is that correct, James? Okay, let's see who's the winner for today. Okay. That's a very funny name. Harpreet! Did you break the rules, Harpreet? All right, congratulations. I will give the
I wrote a wrong answer for the migration one purposely.
Actually, it's not correct.
I'm going to give mine to whoever comes.
Yeah, I'll give the prize to Thảo. Okay, thank you everyone for joining today. It's very excited, and wish everyone a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.